Well, this is the best kind of student work there is. Not only does it give the student a project that they can use going forward that might spring them into a new career, but it's value-added research that helps their faculty and might be on an issue that helps solve a problem. I mean, a lot of times they're taking on projects that there's a huge research opportunity, and the fact that our young people are doing this is the best and the brightest that we have in the state. There's no better showcase for the UW system than seeing these types of projects that really show the collaborative work done between our talented faculty and our students, and just asking them what they learned in each project, what they plan to do next with this, whether they're going to continue this work, is always really inspiring, and it's one of my favorite days of the year in terms of showcasing exactly what takes place on our campuses throughout the state.
Do you see anything that might impact public policy or the state as a whole?
Well, I'm wearing two hats there. I mean, a lot of the research that I've only gone to look at one project so far today, but I make sure at least every Oshkosh kid is going to get 5 minutes of my time, and I'm going to do my best to understand it. I made the mistake of starting with chemistry and biology.
Okay.
I can do stats. I'm not as good at science, but a lot of the projects are aimed at anytime you're taking on public health issues or challenging a student to test a theory that may result in some gain. In this case, the one I looked at was cleaning up pollutants. That's a global issue and opportunity. So my guess is we will have some other projects that may have more of a localized benefit. I know at UW Oshkosh we've got a lot of work that's been going on with lake water quality. And there's a bigger role being played in our region of the state by the university with the work of students and faculty, and that's the best kind of partnership we can have. Value-added research that benefits the students, that benefits the state. It's sort of at the heart of the Wisconsin idea.
I've been a state senator for 16 years, and I don't know how long they've been doing this, but I try to make this every year. My UW Green Bay students are here. I've got other kids from Green Bay, like one that is UW Fox Valley. And they have great projects, and as Ray Cross talked about this morning, it's not only about their project, but what they learn. And what I'm hearing from the kids, it's about planning, it's organizing, and they're not getting credit for this, so they're doing it on their own, but it's their passion. And what you see here is a lot of passion. The young people are really, really interested in what they're doing, and it's a real positive moving forward to their future and job creation as we develop it. And that being said, I'm just happy this continues despite the cuts to the university system, about $800 million since 2011, and they're saying again another $250 million. I'm worried about my two-year colleges, and I'm worried about all the university system because we have to do better. We have to invest in education. And this is an example why, because this is letting the kids know that they have a future, and if they really have a passion, they can find their way and they can make it.
And is there anything that stands out to you that you've seen over the years? Any projects in particular that you found particularly appealing?
Well, they're all really, really good, and they're all so different, but the things I'm seeing this about controlling the phosphorus in the water, and we've had a lot of concern in Kewanee and Dorr and Brown County about our karst where the actual manure runs right into the wells, and we get a lot of contaminated wells. So they're looking at different ways to control the phosphorus on the farms and doing all kinds of really good things. And then they're also talking about the walloons that are left in this area, which is a very interesting thing, to find out what's going on in Belgium today. The walloons and the rest of the Belgians don't really get along, and they don't communicate, and that's one of the problems we're seeing with terrorism because there's very little communication. So I think it says to everybody that we got to find a way to make it and get along, and I just hope we continue to invest in our university system. We're headed in the wrong direction, but this is an example of what we can do, and these kids aren't doing it for college credit. They're doing it hands-on, research, and it's spectacular. Every year I'm just amazed by their work, and I'm very, very happy to be here again.
And, well, that's great. Anything you want to add?
And proud to be wearing my UWGB stuff today.
That's great.
Because I'm a 1971 graduate, and I'm very proud of that university, and we got to make sure that it continues for a lot of years to come and offers quality education and opportunities like this that we see here today.
Well, I was very excited to come and see what the students were working on. Particularly, I wanted to see a project that one of my constituents was working on. She goes to UW Waukesha, and she had a project about the Oak Creek Waukesha water. So there's been a lot of conversations for for many years as to whether or not Waukesha can buy water from Oak Creek. And they've done a study, the DNR has been involved, and so her project was, her question was, is this a good idea or not? And so she was able to provide me some of the information that she was able to gather up, working with the DNR, working with people from who are involved with the compact, and in the cities. And it's very exciting to actually have a project that I can actually understand, because it's going to impact the community that I work at, that I represent at. So. Very interesting. I asked her, what her findings were and some of their conclusions. She said she's still working on it, but one of the things she's, said, well, it may be, a good idea to be able to sell the water to Waukesha, but she said her biggest concerns was, well, they need to make sure that they conserve water, better, because according to her findings, she's seeing that, there's possibility that they can do more. And the other concern of hers was, well, if we do this for Waukesha, then other communities are going to want this, so this really opens up a can of worms. So how do you address it? Right. So it was very interesting to hear her take, someone who's actually digging into this and working with, doing research with other organizations to get her findings. I'm constantly in communications with my school, my district of Oak Creek. Obviously they have an interest in having something like this happen, but you also have to consider what the impact of this will be to the rest of the state, and certainly our decisions are based on not just what's good for my community, but also what's good for the state.
Right. Very interesting. Anything else you want to add?
No, I'm very excited to be here, and it was really nice to hear the other projects, and it's great to see how much work they put into it, and I was very impressed on some of the people on how well they were able to explain projects that were very deep and very hard to understand. So they did a good job.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Parkside's close to my district, so to come down and see the projects that the students have been working on throughout the year is really rewarding. It's rewarding for them, it's rewarding for legislators. I learned a little bit about some atoms and chemistry, and again, that wasn't my major in high school or college, so getting to learn a little bit about subjects that I don't necessarily have a complete background in, but bringing it down to a legislator's level, and I think that's what's important about this program and the participation, is that you get to hear about very complex subjects, and they bring it down to real-world perspective and how it affects people.
Do you see any of it having an impact possibly on legislation or public policy?
Well, one of the students, Molly, here from Parkside, she was just explaining to me her food desert, and as the co-chair of the audit committee and the legislator who pushed for the audit of the food share program, it was, again, right up my alley, where I could ask her several questions and finding out what her conclusions are through the food deserts, if there's an economic ratio correlation between food deserts and people's income. So it was again, very helpful.
So what do you see as kind of the benefits for the students themselves, but also your community and the UW institution?
I think it gives them a great learning perspective to come up here to the Capitol. It's a beautiful building. I'm so lucky to myself to work in this building every day. To have them come up and share in this and then share their knowledge with us is really helpful to me, and my staff just was here as well.
Yeah. Is there anything really surprising you've found out from coming here over the years?
Again, some very, very complex issues that I don't have a huge grasp on, like molecules and how they coat pipes and crude oil and how it's all produced through the country. So that was a gentleman from UW Platteville. So not in my district, but he was just sharing a story with me.